well, what if it's actually gonna be him? What if Leon is gonna be Tom Felton? And oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm such a big fan of his. And when we actually met, I was so nervous. I was so worried and I was so shy. I remember that moment very well. And it's been such a, I'm so grateful for this experience.
Altered asks the question, what if humanity chose biology over technology? So, I'm going to ask the obvious. If that technology was real, what sort of genetic enhancement would you imagine getting first?
Oh gosh, I think there's a that's a thing that I was thinking quite a lot. That actually that's one of the things that really sparked the whole story. Is like looking where we're going because we already have a lot of physical enhancement in humans, but to really go down into the DNA and sort of really crank up your sort of what it is that means being a human. And if I had the chance to get anything and make something, I would be very happy being just by myself like I am right now because I am the problem is not so much on what kind of fantastic things I would get, but it's more like who do I give the power to make me what they think is what I want? And I'm like, that's a scary thought. And I decided that I would stay pretty much what I am if I could choose.
I think I would say the same. I'm gonna support Timo. I think it's important to keep all the things we have naturally. I think that what's been given to us, we need to keep it. We need to upgrade it by ourselves with our own I don't know. With everything we do, we need to help ourselves get better in anything we do. So I think yeah, I'm gonna stick up with that.
Well, the Genesis flower is it's basically another character in this movie, Timo. How early did you know that it was literally going to be the energy source in your film and not just sort of like a sci-fi metaphor?
Well, funnily enough, it's one of those like when I start doing these worlds, I kind of go down into these big rabbit holes of researching absolutely kind of things that are quite details in the movie, but they become a huge world to me. And I started to research sunflowers, and I learned that sunflowers actually can absorb radioactivity from the ground. And I was thinking that what if there was like a plan that it really could do that, could store it and could turn it into a source of energy. And I was like, you know what if, why not? And then I sort of started to come up with the Genesis flower idea. It's obviously it's like a way enhanced version of what sunflowers in any scale do, but like I took that little idea from there. I was like, wow, that's an interesting you know train of thought. Like, what if a flower becomes like we're so hung up to energy created by human machines. What if the energy is created by flowers? What by by flora, sorry. And what would the world look like from there? And I think that was one of the interesting avenues that I went down when I started looking into this.
Well, Lizzie, I'm going to ask you this. Chloe and Leon have this chaotic little family dynamic going on. And he treats her like a little kid and she refuses to be one. And I would love to know what was sort of a moment between you and Tom on set that kind of perfectly captured that energy for the two of you.
I think that we got the chemistry right the moment we met. Just when we met each other on our first table read, all of us understood that it's gonna be a great bond between us. It was always so friendly between us, and I think that um, we are such good, great partners and friends at the same time. It really helps us to collaborate, to feel comfortable with each other. And I think that it was always just so fun and pure, and that's what's it about.
I was reading that you were a Harry Potter Draco Malfoy sort of fan. I would want
Sure.
to know. did you immediately fangirl or did you like play it cool? Because I don't know how I would react if I was going to be like a constant partner with somebody that, I really admired.
Well, first of all, when I was only getting started with the project, I saw this picture of the dream cast. And when I saw Tom Felton being there, I was like, well, that's a dream cast, right? Nobody promises you everything that's in the dream cast. And I was like, well, what if it's actually gonna be him? What if Leon is gonna be Tom Felton? And oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm such a big fan of his. And when we actually met, I was so nervous. I was so worried and I was so shy. I remember that moment very well. And it's been I'm so grateful for this experience. It's been a wonderful journey to work with him. I'm such a fan of his professionalism, of everything that he does. And so, yeah, I was kind of fangirling at that moment. But obviously, I understood we need to work with each other, and that was like my top priority, to work to show that I am a professional too, and to give everything I can for my partner. Everything I have, I gave it to Tom, and he gave it back to me, and we just had this nice collaboration.
I really noticed the diversity in the cast, and I really appreciated that. But what was kind of like the secret being able to like, steer that ship with so many different, people who speak different languages? Is it coffee? Is it telepathy? Like,
We have to remember I come from Finland, and so English is my actually my third language. So to me, uh, it, I'm always the one who doesn't speak the language. Like I've learned and studied, but it's a process. But I think it kind of helps in a way when you gather an international team by the fact that I'm actually usually pretty much on the same level or even lower on the level of the main set language, which is English, and then try to bring it all together and unify it together. And I think that's it. I can tell you, it's really the more tired you get during the day, the more complicated keeping up the language becomes, even if it was Finnish, which is my mother language. But since it's English, like I just start losing words. Like every day you lose 20 words. I mean, every hour you lose 20 words. By the time in the end of the day, you're like really running and you're like just saying one word, two words here and there, the only things that you can come up with. But I think one of the hardest lessons I've always learned in Finnish language, we don't, for some reason, have the word please. We don't have a equivalent of please. It doesn't mean that we're rude. We just don't say please. And that's something that I get from a lot of people on the set. It's like, oh, you're quite direct sometimes. It's like, yeah, I just say stand here. Could you say stand here, please? Ah, that's the trick. So it's these kind of little things that you have to sort of learn to navigate uh, through the process of unifying this kind of a big international cast with a lot of different languages and linguistic and cultural backgrounds. Like it is a journey.
that is not something that I would have thought. Like, you think about, but then, I, I, w- that's definitely sort of a bit of a small little hurdle, having to
Yeah,
deal with such an international cast. But then you guys
yeah.
also were dealing with negative 30-degree weather.
Well,
Like,
I mean, I'm negative 30, but 30 was easy. Negative
40?
50,
Oh my
negative
gosh.
50. I think negative 47 was when I was like, okay, now it's getting a bit cold here. And I was like,
It
okay,
was
luckily it
negative
was at the
40
very
and it
end of
felt
the
like
shoot.
negative 50.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. So
it was not regular. I was like, this is how does it? But it's luckily it was at the very end of the shoot, and the plan was we wanted to start the shoot a little bit earlier, so we would have kind of evaded that. But then something happened and things get pushed like 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever, and then suddenly you're like, Oh dear, this is getting really cold.
I'm going to ask one last question because I am literally almost out of time. But Lizzy, I would love to know if Chloe, she's brilliant, she's rebellious, and literally like running scientific experiments in like junkyard lab. But if she had social media and like an Instagram or a TikTok bio, what do you think that it would say?
Hmm. That's such a nice question. Oh my God. I think it would say maybe something like um, an aspiring scientist, or maybe just some nice emojis that she loves, some leaves, some flowers, something really scientific. I think that would be it.